Hi, I want to tell you a story about something that happened when I was about 8 or 9 years old and I got in trouble. But I didn't actually do anything wrong. You ever been in trouble before because someone else disobeyed? It's not very fun. It was actually kind of scary. So what happened was someone cut the corners off an important piece of paper at our house using scissors. And when my dad got home from work, he saw the paper. And he started asking my brother and my sister and myself, who cut the corners off? Well, I'll tell you, there were lots of times I disobeyed my dad, but this wasn't one of them. And so I said, I didn't cut the corners off the paper. He asked my brother and my sister. No one said they did. This really hurt my dad's heart. One of his kids was lying to him, so he didn't know what to do. He kept asking us. Finally, he took me into the bathroom, which was just an area where we could be alone and he could talk to me and ask me questions without my sister listening. And so he said, Carrie, I want you to tell me the truth. Did you cut the corners off? And I looked at him and I said, Dad, I didn't do it. And my dad, I think he just got really frustrated and he looked at me and he said, Carrie, you know you're a better liar than your sister. When I heard that, I didn't know what to do. How can I make my dad believe me? I've lied to you before, Dad, but I am not lying to you now. And you know how I felt? I felt trapped. I felt stuck. Like if my own dad won't believe me when I'm telling the truth, what can I do? And I felt really bad inside too, even though I didn't do anything wrong. So a few years ago, when I was praying and asking Jesus to help me lock the promise key that God is with me into my heart, I was praying and I was saying, Lord, I want to know that you're with me all the time. And the Lord, when I was praying, He helped me remember that time when I was 8 or 9 years old. And He said to me in my prayer time with Him, Carrie, I want to go back to that time in your imagination, and I want to show you some things that you didn't see when you were 8 or 9. So I said, okay, because your imagination is a great place to talk to Jesus. So I went back to that memory with Jesus in my imagination, and so I'm sitting there on the bathtub, I'm looking at my dad, and my dad's got a really angry face because he's scared. And I remembered how I felt, and then I felt like God said to me, ask me where I was, because I'm always with you. I'm with you when you're 4 and 6 and 8 and 35. I'm always with you. So Carrie, in your imagination right now, ask me, Jesus, where were you? So I did. And do you know what I experienced? It was the most amazing thing. I'm looking around the bathroom in my imagination, and all of a sudden, it's like the bathtub is Jesus. It's like where I'm sitting, all of a sudden, these big white wings just come around and just wrap me up. It's like all you can see is my little face poking out of these big, huge wings, and Jesus just is hugging me and holding me. And I didn't feel trapped or stuck anymore. I felt just peaceful and like everything's going to be okay. And so I started to talk to Jesus as He's holding me on the bathtub in my imagination. And I said, Jesus, my dad's really mad. And He said, yeah, he is. He's scared. I'm like, oh, he was scared because he didn't know what to do. And I said, Jesus, my dad says I'm a really good liar. What do you say? And Jesus, it's almost like He kind of chuckled. And He said, no, your daddy doesn't know you as well as I do. And I thought, yeah, you're God. You know me. You made me. He said, Carrie, you're not a good liar. You love truth. That's how I made you. Your daddy's just scared. And you know, when when Jesus told me that I'm not a good liar, do you know I grew up feeling like I was a good liar, and I actually did not get caught a lot of times when I told lies. But when I heard Jesus say, not only, Carrie, am I with you in trouble, but I'm going to tell you the truth about this whole thing, and I'm going to tell you the truth about you. So as I'm sitting there with Jesus, I was able to forgive my dad because I realized he just didn't know the truth either. And he was just scared. So I forgave my dad and I forgave myself. And then I said, Jesus, if I'm not a good liar, who am I? What's the real me? Because I grew up thinking I was a good liar. And so Jesus showed me this other picture of myself where I'm walking along this road with Jesus, and I've got like this backpack on, and we walk up and we see this man laying in the road, and he looks like he might even be dead. He's like really hurt, really sick. And so we kind of kneel down next to the man, and Jesus tells me to take off my backpack. And so when I take off my backpack, I realize I have this like golden spoon, and inside my backpack, it's like honey. And Jesus is like, I want you to feed him with that. So I take my golden spoon and I dip it in this honey, and I kind of hold this man's head up, and I spoon some of the honey into his mouth, and he gets better. And Jesus is like, do you know what that honey is? I'm like, no, what is it? And he said, it's truth. That's the real you. I made you to love truth and to help other people get truth from me. That's the real you. And so I just wanted to tell you that story today, that first of all, God is always with you. And you may be like me when I was 8 or 9, and I didn't know he was always with me. So when I got in trouble, I didn't ask him, where are you? But I have this great picture now of Jesus holding me in that really scary place on the bathtub, telling me the truth. So I hope you liked my story, because you know what? God is always with you.